Unless I did something wrong the last time.
Yes.
Thirty days.
Again, John?
Send Dia a text to make sure he knows that it's at 4 o'clock.
Now we're ready. Okay. Calling to order this meeting of the Trojan Park Public Utility at 4:02 for the meeting, the regular state planning and projects meeting, Thursday, July 27th at 4 p.m. Call to order, pledge to the flag. Everybody stand. Begin. The directors, Director Nyman,
Here?
Director Garcia,
Here.
Director Schoenberg, Director Kelly. Here. Gibson here. Discussion vote, adjust the agenda if necessary.
I'll move that we move up our closed sessions 7 and 8 to between 3 and 4.
I'll second that.
Okay, a motion's been made by Director Kelly and seconded by Director Garcia. Roll call of directors, Director Nyman,
Aye.
Director Garcia,
Aye.
Director Schoenberg, Director Kelly,
Here, I mean, I.
Gibson, I, 5-0-0. It's passed. Is there anything else we need to do with this agenda?
I'll give comments.
Okay, public comments, items not listed on agenda, limited to 5 minutes. Thank you. Do you have anything you wanted to say, Emily?
No, I just, Jeff French called me and said maybe I should come to the meeting.
Cool.
So-
Okay, well, it's good to have you here.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Standing committee reports.
No, we're going to 7.
Oh, I'm sorry, it's 7. Okay.
Sorry.
Without T?
He's
Is
here.
there- Okay, cool.
We need to go to 8 and not 7. We can't even do 7.
Okay, closed session pursuant to government code 54957, conference with real property negotiators, government code 54956.8, property 255-320-28, agency negotiators, Lisa Schoenberg, Raman Nyman.
Well, we can do 8, 7 then. So we should just take, well, yeah, but we're out of order now, so just 8.
Yeah, before we even go into that, outside the closed session, I need to, I'm gonna make a motion that we do, even though we said 7 and 8 now, that we do 8 first, and then if there's something necessary on 7, we will need to ask the person, Emily, from 8 to leave because it's a closed session. So let's switch the order and do 8. If someone would second that, and then
I'll
do
second that.
item 7, if we even need to do item 7.
Okay, a motion's been made by Director Schoenberg, seconded by Director Kelling. Roll call of directors, Director Nyman,
Aye.
Director Garcia,
Aye.
Director Schoenberg,
Aye.
Director Kelling,
Aye.
Gibson, I, 5-0-0. Okay, number 8, closed session pursuant to government code 54957, conference with real property negotiators, government code 54956.8, property 256070-54 and 256-070-5. Agency negotiators, Lisa Schoenberg, Raman Naiman, D. Jasper, negotiating parties, Jeff French, Emily Wainwright, under negotiation, price and terms of payment.
Break everyone else
Oh.
off.
And we're closing the session at 4:06.
Jerry. We live stream everything now, so now when we have to go into the closed session, we gotta close out all the Zoom meetings and everything.
I think we're ready.
Okay. Coming out of closed session at 4:56, there's nothing to report. So now we go back to
Item 4.
4, standing committee reports, accounts payable committee.
We met, looked over the invoices. Yeah, I can get it on. Okay, go again.
Okay.
Okay,
So they didn't hear anything we just said?
no, it just glitched right now while Terry was talking,
Oh,
so
okay.
it's good. Okay, we met, we went over invoices, asked Deborah to cut the checks, and we'll talk the rest of everything in the financial.
Well, and then we also went over the bond book again
Oh, yes, the bond bill.
and everything that I did was correct. I looked back
For 2 years.
for where we started from 2021 and what they took and what I said they should have taken in 2021 was correct. What they said what I said they were gonna take in 2022 was correct. And that's what they took in 2022. But then this last one, it's off. So I don't know if they use a different rate. So we're gonna need to we need to contact somebody at the state. We'll have to look and see and contact.
L'Oreal probably? Oh, no, that's USDA.
No, we need to call the bond people, so,
So we need,
his name's in the bond book.
Right,
yeah, so we're gonna have to call them and talk to them and find out.
Because they're not allowed to change the rate, so.
we don't know what happened, we just know that they
But
did
was
take.
it less? It was
If
less.
they
it was
took
less.
less money. So on, okay, here,
Significantly
on the $2.1 million loan, they took $24.99 less. Okay, on the loan number 3, which is the 400,000, they took something like $14 and some cents less. Then on loan 4, they took
Hundreds less.
like 400 and some odd dollars, $480 or something like that, less than what they should have taken. And what we originally figured in April, yeah, so basically, we need to find out from them, because obviously they didn't take enough money. And
Or we're figuring it wrong.
or they need to tell us what we need to do, but I used the same formula and for 2021. And then but then I did it for 2022 and whatever I was off by a penny
Right.
on one of them.
And we did that when we were trying to figure the formula out, so,
Yeah.
and it all matched.
Yeah.
So I think that,
So
somebody
somebody,
could have gotten a new person and that person might have not understood how to do the math, you don't know.
right,
We don't-
but so we're gonna have to call
So
them.
you probably need to talk to both Al Corleone at USDA and the bond person to make sure that there isn't, first the bond person to make sure that there isn't some possible rate change because of all the stuff that's been going
Like
on.
maybe they did a less rate change for some reason,
Who knows?
you know.
It shouldn't have gone down, it should have gone up.
Well, they can't go up because in the bond book, it says a maximum
Yeah.
of 4 1/4,
Say that.
one's 4 1/4 and one's 4 1/8. So it can't change.
Yeah, it says those are the max. we
So
don't
anyway,
know if
so
they
that-
changed
So that's our
something.
report on that,
That's
so.
why they took less.
I mean, it's possible that if you pay it faithfully for a certain amount of time, maybe you get some sort of, yeah, you need to call.
We don't know, that's why we said we gotta call.
But at least we figured it correct, I mean, we didn't have not enough because we did
Right.
that before too,
Right,
and that
right,
was
right.
not good.
Well,
Right.
and we also have an extra $5,000 in the account anyways
Okay.
that I put in
But we
there.
need to put money in there so we
Right.
can, October's payment can be
Right.
taken.
But anyways, that's
We gotta-
something, yeah, that's gonna be, we're gonna have to see where we're gonna get that money. But anyhow, so that's our report.
Okay, State Update Meeting Committee.
Well, we met, we, will have to, we'll go over it, in the other items because they'll be covered in other items, so no sense in doing it here.
Okay, great. Quarterly Financial Committee. Can you take this, Terry?
Becky and I, we met, and because Lisa was out ill, we got through all of the expenditures, and the next one will be going over the, what was it, Deborah?
We finished the profit and loss, so we'll be going over the balance sheet accounts.
Okay. Ad hoc committee reports, Project Committee.
We
have not met, but we're gonna meet now with Dee, so we're just gonna wait and we'll be reporting on the next time.
right.
Financial Committee.
Okay, so we did meet, I met with, Terry and we went over, I had already done a chunk of the audit, but we went back and rechecked some things, which was a good thing because we found some additional stuff. And some things that needed to be elsewhere. And so I don't know, we're probably like halfway through.
Yeah.
I would say, and so, we're meeting again soon, I think it's next week. And so
You and Becky
hopefully,
will be meeting.
huh?
You and Becky will be meeting next week, because you and Becky are on that.
Right, I was trying to see if because we had said when we voted that we were gonna try to have you do it for a couple of months, but you were out for part of that. So I'm hoping that you are actually able to do it again.
But there's no reason that Becky shouldn't be there. She was already on there. I only filled in.
No, in the vote, we did the standing, you're talking about the standing committee, but I'm talking about the ad
Ad
hoc.
hoc, and that ad hoc was you.
The ad hoc, we had agreed, I'll have to go back through, but I
And then
believe
the ad
we
hoc-
agreed to have have Becky hold off, and it was me and you, so that you can be solid, so that when I go away, Becky's already been doing it for quite a while, that you're both good.
Okay.
Unless you don't wanna do that, in which case we need to read, because right now it's me and Terry, right?
Right, and you asked for the quarterly financial to be on the agenda today.
Right,
Yeah, but right now it's you two for.
Okay.
and on the quarterly, I'm suggesting maybe I sit in this next one, but maybe we change it for.
Well, we could talk on that,
Okay, when we get there.
when we get to it.
Okay. Okay.
Generator Pad Construction Committee.
We've had no input from D as of yet for design.
I got an update that'll be covered under the generator.
Okay. We'll report on it once we get.
Okay.
Okay. Financial business, discussion vote on accounts payable and financial information. That's you, Deborah.
Okay, we cut 20 checks out of the revenue operating account for a total of $41,428.53. The extraordinary disbursements include a JPIA disbursement for the renewal of the property policy for $10,022.88. There was a disbursement to California Parking and Highway for $3,200. A collective payment to Ferguson for several invoices for a total of $7,958.81. And a collective disbursement to Santana for $10,138.
Okay, so, the Ferguson invoice for, 2,744.69. That's, we had Deborah made, for, a new category for that pressure reducing valve
For an asset?
as an asset. And so that was like 15,000 or whatever that was.
27.
And that 2744 is also part of that.
Yeah.
And so we had her add that as an asset. And, yeah, and I wasn't sure, I mean, what, I guess it's just services, yeah, it's distribution for Santana, so.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's it.
Well,
Oh,
question, it's not necessarily all distribution for Santana, because if we're gonna have a separate asset, then part of that work that Santana did was that asset, or did he only do work after that asset blew and we had to do it again?
On the PRV, you only did work after it blew, and I needed the extra help to put it back together. And before that, he was installing a new valve on Summit.
But that's not a pressure reducing valve, that
It's
was
just
a
a
straight
valve,
valve,
right.
It's an
but
isolation valve.
is that valve something that we want to do as a?
No way you can do it. I mean, assuming we have 300 valves and
Yeah, too hard.
Yeah.
you can't do it,
Yeah.
so.
Not only that, you want it as an expenditure, so that way you know that those things are gonna come up again and you're gonna have to plan
Exactly.
to put them out there,
Right.
to replace them.
So, yeah, so that's it. Do you have any other questions?
I had some other questions that had
Deborah.
to do with other stuff.
Yes.
Do you remember on the American business machines? We originally wrote the check to,
Oh, yeah, so there is an additional check that you had to sign, but it was just a reprint because the original check was payable to Western Graphics, but Western Graphics is a subsidiary of American Business Machines. And American Business Machines sent the check back and asked us to reissue it payable to them. So
We
the
don't have
Western,
an envelope for that. So do we
the
just?
Western
need to get an
Graphics
envelope?
check,
yeah. Because we didn't have an invoice, so you didn't make an envelope.
Tiff, you can just you can do an envelope for us.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, we were just wondering, not so much about the envelope, was there a reason it was not, there wasn't an envelope, if it had to be held back or given personally or something like that?
No,
No, okay.
And then Director Schoenberg found on Mountain Disposable. I guess we were late 30 days.
No, but basically, no, what basically happened is it's like in a cross. So they got the check for $80. They marked it on there that they didn't get it, but they hadn't received the check by the time we sent
But
it.
then we're paying too much.
No, we're only paying 20.
We're
Oh, we're
only
only
paying
paying
20.
20.
We're only paying 20.
I missed that. Okay, and then there was a just note to self, Deborah, that, you know, we had a question when we were on the ad hoc in regard to California something in highway.
Yeah, we'll talk
And
about that.
just a-
I marked it. and-
You marked it, okay,
and-
don't worry.
And we'll discuss that on the next time,
Okay,
next Monday.
so if there's nothing else, I'll make a motion that we pay our bills.
I'll second that.
Motion's been made by Director Nyman and seconded by Director Garcia. Roll call Director Nyman,
Aye.
Director Garcia,
Aye.
Director Schoenberg,
Aye.
Director Kelly.
Aye.
Gibson, I 500. Motion passed.
Okay,
So Deborah can go now, right?
Deborah can go now.
thank you, Deborah.
thank you, everybody. Have a good evening and a good weekend.
Thank you.
Okay, number 9, discussion vote update on Fraser Park, Lake of the Woods Consolidation Planning Project. A, discussion vote review of the project timeline.
Oh no, was that part of the planning timeline, I guess? Yeah, the letter, the draft letter is done to extend the contract, right, Dee?
That's B.
You're on mute.
Oh, we're on A, the timeline. Did you change anything in the timeline? You know, all those months that we're
You're
supposed
on
to
mute
get certain
now.
things done? We didn't
Because we
change
need to
anything?
do
Hang on.
B for the
Can you hear?
question you're asking.
You're muted, Dee.
Oh, yeah,
I see it.
okay, yeah, no, A is,
A needs to be changed,
There
but
we
we
go.
can't really do it until you talk about.
All right,
B.
he's ready to answer now.
Hey, the timeline, I think, Brahma. Yeah, let's see, A and B. Really go together.
Okay,
Nothing in the timeline is changed down to number 4, environmental documents. And I changed the date of the environmental documents self-funding and research from September of 2023 to December, because I think that's going to be more in line with what Tom can do. The biological and cultural resources survey reports for all project sites stays at December of 2023. The draft plans and specifications stay at December 2023. Final plans and specifications stays at April 2024. Don't want to step on anybody here. The environmental clearance, I added that to the schedule because I think that will probably be around October of 2024. And I'm in discussions with Tom Dodson on these two things. And then the construction application, instead of June 2024, I've moved that out to 6 months to December 2024. I think that's more of a reasonable date. But as usual, we're going to try to get it done as quickly as we can. But if indeed we have to apply well in advance for asking for an extension, I think it would be wise to go ahead and do that now and get that.
well, yeah, we didn't you say you already did the letter?
The letter is in your hands. It's a draft letter. I wanted you to review that before I send it out. I'm ready to send it out, ready to sign it and send it out. But
Do we want to read this or?
I can read it into the record if you'd like.
Yeah, or would you like me to read it, Dee?
Go ahead, Brahma. Yeah.
Okay, RE project SWRCB number 15100007-001P, eligible work start date July 1st, 2016, agreement number D180201500, Fraser Park Public Utility District, date of the signing of the agreement, August 1st, 2019, request for a 6 months extension for work completion date. Dear Mr. Sanchez, this is a request to extend the work completed date for the above reference consolidation project from June 30th, 2024 to December 31st, 2024. The project has experienced significant delays due to several conditions beyond the control of the district. These delays arose principally from uncooperative nature of the past landowner and current landowners of well 8 well site, the failed effort to drill a replacement well for well 5, and the overall effects of the shutdown of our economy due to the COVID pandemic. I will not revisit the reasons for delays that we have experienced, as they have been discussed in previous conversations and written recounts of what has taken place, except to say that the delays and the efforts involved with obtaining a well site for well 8 continue. These delays have resulted in significant costs for the district and significant time expenditures for the district staff and also for the district's engineering and legal consultants. Fortunately, we are very near the culmination of the efforts to overcome the delays, but are not there yet. We have employed the district's eminent domain powers to obtain a well site for well 8 and should have that issue resolved by the end of August or mid-September. As you know, the preliminary geological and geophysical work that the district undertook to find the best site for well 8 resulted in a very successful test well result on that site. It is the best site in the Cuddy Creek Valley to drill a new well. We are nearing completion of negotiation with landowners of well site 9. The test well drilled on well site 9 also revealed that it was a good selection as well. The attached revised project schedule shows a time of work completion of December 31st, 2024, which reflects the effects of the protracted time for procurements of well sites 8 and 9 and the sequel work that is required for the project. And then, of course, you have all the timeline. So, I think the letter is good. So I'll make a motion that we approve the letter to extend the contract for 6 months.
Okay, motion's been made by Director Nyman, seconded by Director Garcia. Roll call directors, Director Nyman,
Aye.
Director Garcia,
Aye.
Director Schoenberg,
But I just have a question. Are we pretty sure that we can do it in the 6 months? I have a concern that I didn't really get a chance to discuss.
I've got
That
that same
maybe it
concern.
needs to go just slightly more than that, because
I'm
then
thinking
we're
more
gonna
like
be
8
doing,
months.
yeah, I was thinking 9 months,
Well,
so.
yeah,
I'm just worried that once again, like if we don't give ourselves a little padding, because you basically have the construction application in December, but knowing how slowly this wheel turns, I'm worried that we're gonna be like 6 months from now doing this all over again. Is it better to do it all over again 6 months from now? Which it seems like it might not be, because it takes a while for them to approve any extension, or is it better to somehow add the extension a little bit?
Well,
And still keep this timeline. I mean, does it have to adhere exactly to the timeline? Because I think maybe you could just add in that letter, because it says contingency to be determined. And I think maybe the contingency says, December, or March 2025, in case we run into other problems.
well, I wrestle with that. And my thoughts were, yeah, it's better to go back in 6 months and say, look, we're this much, all that we have to do is this. And, and so we need an extension to get that done. Rather than now anticipating that we won't be there. But so that's why I came to the conclusion, let's just go to the end of December 2024. And if we see that, we've some issues with the environmental work or something like that, hold us
Well,
up.
we'd have to know that in June, right, of 2024, because
Right.
we'd have to extend it again.
right.
Otherwise, we'd be in trouble.
But still, that's like a year away.
That's right.
I know, but it's just the things that he has in the letter or in the timeline. Some of those that are so important, like the clearance of the environmental, is October 2024. So would we really know? I mean, I'm gonna, probably defer to you as being the expert, Dee, but I'm just still a
Well, because
little bit.
And an expert is a person who recognizes his mistake the second time he makes it. But my thoughts are that that will be the issue when we get to that point. And I'm in discussions with Tom to see if how he feels about that. By the way, he has COVID. he's healing up, I think, okay. And he plans to be, we have him coming up to do the environmental, this is off track, I'll get to that, I guess, in one of the later topics. But anyway, he is suffering from COVID, and it sounds like he's gonna be okay. But anyway, I'm in discussions with Tom on that, but, unless, well, unless you folks think that I should do that, what I'm thinking is I'd rather get to that point, say in June of 2024, and say, hey, look, this is going to take this much more time. We're darn near done, but we just have these few steps to take to finish. That's my thoughts, but I mean, I'll defer to the board, whatever you feel comfortable with.
And it should be noted that Carlos said that was not the case, that it doesn't take 9 months like we,
6 months.
he said that for other districts, he's gotten it much quicker than that.
Okay, one more quick question. So.
Yeah, sorry to interrupt, but I was looking through the planning funding executed agreement, and it has the same language that all the other agreements have, the construction funding agreements and so forth. It says the recipient must deliver any request for extension of the work completion date no less than 90 days prior to the work completion date.
90 days.
Yes, that's better.
So,
Okay.
so I think we're. good.
Okay, so then I'm gonna say aye.
Okay, Director Kellen,
Aye.
Gibson, aye. 5-0-0, motion passed.
Okay, send the letter, Dee.
Okay, here we go.
Thanks, sir.
So now we're on to C, discussion vote on the project technical memo.
And working on that. I've been working on that steadily through the last several days, several weeks actually, and still have some to go. I'm guessing it'll probably be a couple weeks more. I've been kind of tied up with supporting the MSR work for Bravish. I reviewed a very rough draft of the MSR a couple of days ago and spent some time reviewing it and giving Bravish my input on that. And there's a few things that I need to do regarding water supply that he is really hasn't covered completely yet. And so I'm taking portions of the regional project report that I did where I do address water supply and sending him that so he can incorporate that into the MSR. So there's that issue. And so I've been a little bit deferred, kind of try to support that. And that's taken a little bit of my time. Plus, I'm not trying to make excuses, but we also are getting very close to completing our plans for the pipeline replacement project, and we'll review that down the road here in a couple of paragraphs. But we're very close to that. I've been reviewing the plans for that, 24 sheets, now 32, and specifications as well. So we're getting very close on that. So I've been taking some time away from the regional report to get that done as well. And then in addition, try to work with our survey team and get the well 8 easement descriptions written correctly and out. So anyways, taking a little bit of my time working through some of those things. And so as I can get back to it, which I will here pretty quick, I'll be working back on that. So that's my excuse.
Okay. D, discussion vote on the acquisition and development of the well 8 property.
Just said that,
He did it, right?
yeah, he's doing that. The offer letter's going out
Okay,
probably in a
discussion,
week or so.
discussion vote on the acquisition and development of the well 9 property.
We're in discussions with, Emily Rainwhite and Jeff French.
And that's been moved to the ad hoc in order to, be able to negotiate a little bit more easily.
Okay, discussion vote update on the district sphere of influence map for the
Table.
annexation.
That's
Is
done.
it submitted, is it tabled?
Yes, submitted and it's been tabled because we can't do anything until it comes back.
G, discussion vote on the project municipal service review, quote, draft, MSR, date, data collection, scope of work, and LAFCO. Are we there yet?
You're muted, Dee.
There we go. I covered that, I think, in my last comments, but I do have a draft, a rough draft of the MSR, and we're also submitting some mapping to some updated mapping to Ravish, so he can incorporate that in the MSR too. So moving right along, my guess would be by the end of next week, we'll have a draft MSR that the board can review. Got my finger.
And that draft will also go to what, the state?
I'd rather the board review it first and then send it to the state.
Okay.
Okay, can we move on to H?
Yep.
Discussion vote on the memorandum of understanding.
We're nowhere near a vote.
Okay,
But it's in your book now. You told
It's in the
me.
book, but this is the old MOU draft, which definitely needs to be
17.
gone over. I'm already, I already see some issues with it, so, huh?
So we can't do anything with that one right now yet, right?
Well, I think before we can even, I mean, this was what I kept saying really needs to happen. I mean, I understand like on the timeline, he's got it for March 2024. And that's right before he does the final plans and specs. So that's probably the right place to put it because he's saying final stuff is April 2024. So, but I mean, there's a lot of little things that are still happening that we're in the process of. So I think that we need to hammer that stuff out before we can really be where we need to be on the on voting on this.
And in reality, this MOU doesn't really have to be executed. It has to be executed when you get the construction funding agreement. So, because you can't move forward using the funding or going out to bid or any of that stuff until that agreement is executed. So that's like the time when it's a must have. You must have it completed by the time you get the funding.
And I'm hoping that there's some way, and I know we tried to do it in the past, that $5 per parcel standby charge. I'm hoping that somehow we can address that before we execute the MOU because, and I don't know if we can, I know it's a big hassle and there's all kinds of stuff associated with that. But it's expensive, but we also are like, I don't know a nice word for it, messing with ourselves every time we, I wanted to say something else, but I won't. Every time we do this every year because it's so low and we have not addressed it for the entire time I've been on the board. And before that, I could bet we haven't addressed it for probably 40 years or something. I don't even know when
I
that
think
was
it's
put
been
into
that
place,
long.
40, 50 years ago. It makes no sense at all and it really hurts the district. And if we don't change it before we take on Lake of the Woods, then it's gonna be even harder to do because there's gonna be even more homes and more.
Is that something we should put on the agenda?
I mean,
It's really not part of it.
yeah, it dropped, well, it is, I mean, but it dropped off, I mean, it's sort of part of this, but it's sort of a separate thing too, but it dropped off of, our agenda a while ago and it's just never come back on it.
Yeah, because of the expense, you guys said, there's no way. I think it was like 30 or 40,000 for the report, but that was
For
a
what
couple of
report?
years ago.
So in order to change the standby fees from $5 a parcel. And the reason I'm saying that is there's a lot of parcels in Lake of the Woods that may never be built on. And if we really are incorporating Lake of the Woods, I don't know how that's gonna come back and bite us at $5 a parcel. You know, or how that, or if it's only on the buildable. I mean, there's a lot of questions I have that I think we should address. And I don't know if that's anything that the state would help us on as part of this project, because it has everything to do with consolidating Lake of the Woods. So, but it's just it hasn't been addressed at this point. And that's one of my bigger things, because a lot of the other stuff that we were concerned about in the MOU has been addressed. Like they've been doing pipeline, they've been doing meters, they've been doing so all these things that we were so worried about in like 2016 or 17. A lot of that's been addressed, but the thing that hasn't been addressed is that standby fee.
We can, you want an agenda item just for discussion or not?
I think we should.
Yes, please.
Yeah, but I don't know if there's a way to incorporate that, Dee. Is there any possibility, or Carlos, or does anybody know if there's any way to somehow discuss that with the state, which I'm no longer doing the state update, but maybe
But it
that's
doesn't have to
something.
be a 218 thing.
It is not a 218, it's a completely separate assessment that isn't
The separate
218.
assessment.
That's why we couldn't do it as part of 218. We had to,
Right.
and it costs a good chunk of money to do. But it really needs to be done. So if we're going to consolidate, isn't that something where we really want to ask the state, like, what about this? Like, how do we address this? Because because there's a lot of lots, extra lots over there. And are we really gonna be locked now into this $5 per lot amount when we take on a whole nother bunch of property that's actually getting a lot of work done. So I mean, I'm thrilled about that, but I don't know. I'd like to see it assessed before we agree completely on the MOU. And I don't know what Lake of the Woods feels about that, but
Is doing this gonna actually, because I know you said the report cost you like 30,000. So is doing this gonna save you more money than 30,000 as in the end result?
way more.
Yeah, it depends how much we raise it to. Right now at $5 a lot, we assess about $6,000 a year. So you can do the math. If it's $10 a lot, it would jump to 12,000. You know. you
A
can
lot
go
of
on from
standby
there.
fees currently are about $200 a lot. Or more.
Just to support the water system by the property.
Yeah.
Well, then there's something that we can ask Lawrence at the state update meeting.
Completely unbuildable property, I think it's separate, but I mean, I don't know if it's a potentially buildable property. I
It's
don't,
called unimproved lots, is all we say.
right, but I mean, some will always, I don't know, I don't know all the things about it, but I just know it's something that we keep kicking the can down the road.
So let's plan on talking to Lawrence about it with the state meeting. Where we're on that ad hoc currently.
I
I want to put that on your agenda, Tiffany and Carlos, you can add that to the agenda, please.
Then can we move on? Discussion vote on the Lake of the Woods projects and consolidation.
That's me, guys. Lisa,
Hi, Pam.
just to address what you asked us, I have no concerns over what Lake of the Woods has access to for you guys. It's the dry lots that I'm wondering about, because we don't have all of their information because they're not in our system. So that's something to think about too.
Pam, I have a question on that. Joan, I think my understanding was that you had a tabulation of those dry lots that you felt would be candidates for water supply. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Joan is muted right now.
You're muted, Joan. Yeah, I remember us talking about it, but we just weren't gonna include them in the projects, but there was an
guys.
assessment.
Can you hear me
Hi,
now?
Hi, Joan.
I had
Yes.
to run for
Yes.
the computer. Um, Yeah, I had ballparked them and said, okay, yeah, this lot is the side of a cliff. There's no way they're ever going to build even no matter what. So I think I had come up with a number of if somebody had a lot that wanted to, I think we'd come up with maybe 45. That's the number that's going off the top of my head.
Yeah, I think he has an email directing that. We can go back to it, but I just don't have context for them is where I was going with that.
Yeah, because if they never had to contribute to the system, then I know personally that we've got some people that purchased the lots back in the 1940s and they've never had to pay property taxes on them. They've never had to pay anything and they've fallen off the earth. So we have no idea how to contact any of these people.
It's just another layer, Lisa, of things you have to
Right,
figure
but
out.
I mean, if it's highly likely that lot's never gonna get built on, I'm less concerned. Maybe there is some sort of two-tier thing you can do with standby. I have no idea. I've never researched it. But, because there's definitely properties that people buy that are just not eligible, like they're in a floodplain or whatever, but for whatever reason, they buy it anyway for mineral or who knows. But yeah, the ones that are potentially viable, I think are the more,
We'll keep us
Ones with bigger-
posted as we go and we'll help you out as much as we can. And we'll just,
Thank
go
you.
from there. Okay, so just to update, we're on schedule so far. Everything's going really well. I mean, of course, we have a few hiccups here and there, but everyone's really working well together. And I'm thrilled. We all are. Our wells are slowing down as far as recharge. We have a couple that have actually kind of leveled out. Our nitrates are going down at the blending station. Yay. The only other huge question, guys, is I know we brought up about taking well number 6, our well number 6, Lake of the Woods, and expanding that line to the blending station. And Lawrence has really been pushing to make sure that Fraser Park agrees and is fine with us pursuing this with our engineers to do like a study to make sure that that's a viable solution while we wait for the annexation. Do you guys have
Yeah,
any?
I mean, we're,
I think it's a great solution, yeah.
yeah, I mean, because we want the solution, so if you come on board, if we have that already in place, then, it's probably a good thing. It's one less thing we have to worry about. I think that's a good solution, Pam.
as long as our engineer doesn't see a potential issue.
Right, and our plans are on track like we've always done, that once we get the phase 3 plans done, Dee will get a chance to look at them as well as the state. So, you'll have a say along the way, but I don't know why he just kept reiterating that, making sure that Fraser Park was on board with it. So it's now recorded in the books that you guys are all fine. And Carlos has that too, because he's gonna have to expand the TA agreement.
Well, just so you
As long as
know,
I'm not overboard.
that I'm gonna have to ask beforehand. And if they do say yes, then I will have to redo the agreement, which in reality they can work on this anyways, because we have enough funding. It's just that funding won't come in for a few months until it gets approved.
Okay, so do you want me to have PNP just to hold off?
Well,
Because I
yeah,
asked
because
PNP.
if it's gonna cost, if they're gonna say, oh well, it's gonna cost an extra 10,000 to look at this or whatever, and then I ask and it doesn't get approved, then you guys will be stuck with it.
Right. Okay, well, I have a board meeting next week, so we'll talk about that to see, as a fail-safe. I think it's a good idea to pursue anyways, but my board will have to make that decision. So Carlos, you and I will start a conversation with Jeannie to get an idea of the cost, and then we'll go from there.
Yeah,
Right?
because I'll ask management first, and if they say yeah, then we'll redo the work plan and resubmit it.
Okay, and I also talked with her about the plans and specs, being at 50%. Did she need to include this before she sent those out? And she said, no, we can add that after. So it's not gonna hold up our progress on that for now.
And Pam, can you also update them on the notifications we got today from different agencies about how they're approving different steps? I don't know, it's kind of gibberish to me, but if you can explain it.
Yeah, so let me just, it was California Fish and Wildlife. They have no exemptions or any concerns. They are giving us 60-day notice to let us know that they will be sending out a letter to approve it. We also got the NOE for our whole project for phase 3. So everything's moving forward in those. So we still, I think we have one more coming in, and then we have the forestry permit still. So that one could take us our whole life, you guys know.
That's the difficult one.
Yeah, yeah. So we hope to have it all cleared up though by the time you guys come on to take us over. It'd be
Yeah,
nice
5
if they
years
gave us
is-
a lifetime. But
Oh, good luck with that. We didn't get one.
I know I'm playing, of course, you know, it's my wish. I'll put it out into the universe and pray for us all.
But they did give us a longer one than
I think
what
they
they
gave
were
us-
saying
I think
originally,
we wanted
20 years,
40.
I think.
We
30
wanted
years?
40, but I think we got 30.
30 years? We either asked them for 30 and got 20, or we asked them for 40 and got 30. I can't remember.
Well, and right now they're saying that they have a lot on their plate because of the storms that have happened, and so they're bogged down. So that's our
Remember, it
delay.
took us over a year to get a final
It
picture.
took us so long, yeah. Everything
Everything was done. But by the time he came back, the board president changed, and it took another 6 or 8 months to get.
They're just super slow even when there aren't issues.
Yeah,
Okay, so that means Joan can never leave until all these projects are done.
That's right.
Right, because if you change something, then you have to go through it all over again.
Well, there you go,
Partially
Joan.
over.
You're mine for
And
now.
you're stuck, Bill.
Yeah, you're stuck. All right, guys, did you have any questions for me?
thank you, Pam.
Thank you.
Thank you,
All
Pam.
right.
Jay, discussion vote on claim 32 and other claims and payouts.
You, Carlos.
Okay, for board of directors fees for the month of June, we had $633.34. Young and Woolrich had 3 invoices. Invoice 101-863, 101-864, and 101-865. And all those invoices totaled $3,597.75. For staff recovery costs for the month of June, we had $104. And then D Jasper and Associates had 2 invoices. One invoice is invoice 23-00608. And that one was split up between admin fees and engineering design. And the admin fees totaled $868, and I'll get to the engineering design portion in a bit. So then D Jasper had another invoice 23-00609, and that was for engineering report, and that totaled $3,290.50. So then the other portion of engineering, the other portion of that invoice 23-00608 was engineering design, and that totaled $8,894.51. So the total invoice was $17,388.10. And I did switch it up from when I presented this claim at the state update meeting, because I had all the charges from invoice 23-00608 under consolidation engineering, and that would have pretty much wiped out that budget. But I was told that most of that stuff was designed, so I put it under engineering design. Any questions?
Thank you.
And I do have one other comment to make, and that's something that the board's gonna have to direct me on. For board admin fees. After claim 32, we only have $975.05. So that'll cover like a board meeting and a half or 1 month and a half. So we're gonna have to ask for more money. And you guys are gonna have to tell me how much we're gonna ask for.
So how much you?
You need to kind of calculate up to 2024, because we're all the way through the end of 2024, December.
Yeah, because I know Lawrence in the past had said we'll do it year by year, but I don't know if we want to just do the 2 years now
I
or
don't think yeah, I think we should just try to calculate through if we can.
So,
Okay,
what,
so-
how much?
So it's
Like-
$500 a month plus whatever the admin extra fees for, just think about maybe $700 a month.
Say, well, because you have this,
And then you have the state.
And then the update meeting and then so 1,000.
well, because usually for the month we average 600 under $700. So if we do $700,
So we'll do 700, and so, August, September, October, November, December, it's 5, so 17.
well, we got enough for the next month. So we'll have to figure out 2 years from then.
11,900, so why don't we just ask for $12,000?
Okay,
Yeah, and that should take
That
us
should
out,
take care of
and just, we'll explain to him that it'll take us out through the end of the project,
we hope.
we hope.
So that's, is with the ad hocs, do we include the ad hocs right now? No, do we?
I think
Yes.
so. I think they're in.
Yeah,
The state update meeting.
Yeah, 'cause
quarterly,
that's-
standing.
because it's 500. It's 500 for the regular board meeting and 133.34 for the ad hocs, I think.
usually unless we have a long
Unless
list.
there's more projects.
Right, yeah.
So, but
So-
looking at all the claims, it's never gone over 700
Yeah,
at all.
I think 12,000 is a good ask, and then
Okay,
we can go from there. So, okay, so you'll make that letter, you'll put that on the agenda for
for the
our
next state
next
update meeting, yeah. I'll make that letter.
Okay. Great, that's great. Okay, I'll make a motion that we approve claim 32 in the amounts specified by Carlos in the total amount of $17,388.10.
I will second that.
A motion's been made by Director Nyman and seconded by Director Kelling. Roll call directors, Director Nyman,
Aye.
Director Garcia,
Aye.
Director Schoenberg,
Aye.
Director Kelling,
Aye.
Gibson, I, 500, motion carried. Moving on to number 10, discussion vote update on the FPPUD meter replacement project and emergency well supply project. A, discussion vote update on well 7.
We closed that out yet?
No. No, so that one, D.
We got a price for the well abandonment from Bakersfield Well and Pump, 31,000. So that's much less than, or it's less than the 50,000 that we had in the budget. So with
Okay.
the approval, I think what we need to do is, I guess, I don't know whether you need to make a motion on that or whether it's included in the budget for the project. But we need.
I think that since it's already included, that you guys could just direct you to do so if you guys don't have an issue with it.
I'll wait till,
Because it obviously has to get done.
no, of course, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't see a problem with it, but
At least the abandonment price is $31,000 from Bakersfield Well and Pump. Dee questioned whether or not the board even has to vote on it since it was part of the project, and I said that you guys could probably just direct him to tell him to do the work. The budgeted amount was 50,000 for abandonment, it's only 31,000, I think, so.
Oh my God.
Well, I mean, compared to 50.
So that was the thing that we, in the meeting, that this is the problem is that Lawrence was not at the meeting. So,
So we have no idea.
yeah, we,
Can we
so the
send,
final cost is 31,000, but we had another, you had another one. What was the other, the last,
fence replacement? Fence replacement?
Are you questioning the final cost due to what can't be returned?
right, yeah. So we
Because
don't,
that wasn't
okay.
approved. We thought this was part of that final cost and it wasn't.
right, so where do we stand on that? What was that cost again? Was it 100? How much was that, Dee?
131.5 or something like that. Get it for you in a minute.
And that,
113,
so
113.50. 113,
113.
$113,050.
Yeah, okay, so I guess the question is, we need to send an email, if you could send an email to Lawrence,
Mhm.
asking the state, you know, because there's stuff that they've already purchased. Because we talked about it in the meeting and told Ryan Eisenhower and asked them to notify Lawrence, but maybe you could send an email telling them this is what, you know, this was the cost of stuff they can't return, and we need direction from the state as to, are we going to, we're going to we'll take possession of the stuff from Unified,
Or is the state gonna take it?
or does the state want it sent someplace else?
Yeah,
And so that we can, because we need to submit that that invoice, and then also send him a email and telling him the final cost of the project for capping well 7 is $31,000.
And that we're not gonna pay that until the equipment is in hand
Right,
somewhere.
right,
And
and that we-
well is completely capped and signed.
But aren't those two separate issues?
They're two separate.
Right, but
bills.
it's two different emails, which is fine.
I mean, the well abandonment has to go through, I mean,
Yeah.
they already approved that, we don't have to ask for permission to
Right.
abandon.
No,
we
but
don't
he
need
needs to
We
notify.
need to not give them money until it's done.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
that one. we don't need permission for.
My thing is that you still need to notify Lawrence in an email telling him, we are moving forward with the abandonment of well 7, and that final cost is 31,000. But I also want him to have an email telling him the other costs of things,
Unreturnable.
unreturnable things is 113,000, and you need to list that for him so that he can comment on that and you know, say it's
Well, and
okay.
it's not just unreturnable things, because part of that price was for engineering and stuff.
Yeah,
on
part of
it.
that price
Right, but which is fine, but I mean, but it's gotta be laid out to him, because he may have questions that Dee's gonna have to answer.
Well abandonment, we also have to mention putting the fence back. And
That was the other issue, because it doesn't say a price on putting the fence back.
so,
Because the fence, well, there wasn't gonna be a fence because, or the fence was,
no, there still would have been a
there
fence.
would have been a fence, but there was some issue. Oh, no, there wasn't gonna be a tear down. There was some extra cost that we wouldn't have had if it had gone smoothly. I can't remember what it was.
Well, there's
something that
a
they-
reduction
we had about
in it. Well,
15,000, I think, in for fence repair and drive gates, including fence removal. So we'll include that. And I think Curtis has been in contact with Lawrence, but not with these numbers. So we'll send emails that'll cover that.
Yeah, so I mean, we need to cover all of them.
All the bases.
All the bases, the 113,000, and then we also need, you know, the fence and the well abandonment. Make sure he has it and just tell him that we're going forward, then, I mean, we have to abandon it, so I'm gonna tell you, I mean, as a board, I think we should just tell him to go move forward with that abandonment, I mean.
Yeah, that's
question.
already part of the discussion and was already there, so we can move forward. We're just not going to physically pay
Right,
them
of
until
course.
it's done. and
Of
it's not
course.
done.
So we tell Unified to go ahead and, or Bakersfield Well and Pump, go ahead and abandon the well? Deep,
I'd say, one more time, please.
so the board is saying, go ahead and direct them to go ahead and abandon the well,
Yes,
but also send a separate email to Lawrence telling him that we're doing it.
And what the cost
And the
are,
cost.
yes,
and what the cost for the fence is,
yes.
putting the fence back. And if you could copy me and Jerry on that, please.
Okay, got it.
Perfect.
Perfect.
We should be now.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, number 10, discussion vote update on the FPPUD meter replacement project and emergency well supply project. B, I'm sorry, discussion vote update on the meter replacement.
Yeah, I met with Curtis and I met with, Jim from Neptune today. As a final step of the propagation study, which is to determine how many antennas we need to collect the majority of all the meter reads remotely from the office. They had determined on the propagation study, we would need 2. So today we went up and we looked at the 2 sites. One is Sam Young Tank. They're gonna put the antenna right on the tank. And one is on Wolf Tank. And they feel strongly that that's gonna be enough to gather all the meters in town because, the way they're situated on top of the hilltop. So he said that we actually are very lucky compared to a lot of like cities that are flat because you don't get off that easy. Too many buildings and things get in the way, but so that was positive. And, he's saying that, I forget what it's called now, but it's the thing that to drive the antennas, the collection thing is, due in January, which is when the meters are due, is January. So far, the project is moving along the way we were told it would several months ago.
I got a question on that, and I think probably it's one for Curtis, Johnny, but have we considered folding Lake of the Woods into this thing? You know, in the future, are we gonna need?
I talked to Jim, if they've got just the drive-by read meters and not the AMI or the one we're getting. He said everything will match, everything will interface fine. I did not ask him if we could get a further grant to upgrade their meters to where they could just read remotely. But I do know, I asked him, I said, so when we take them over, everything's gonna mesh seamlessly, and he said yes. Because if I have to drive for 400 meters, roughly 400 meters, you know, and it takes 20 minutes or half an hour, that's not a big deal for me, as long as it all uploads to the same billing computer.
Okay.
Okay. C, discussion vote on the project extension.
Curtis had already issued a letter to Lawrence. And I think he followed that up with another letter that says, here's a copy of the letter that I already sent. And we haven't received that I know about. I haven't seen a reply from Lawrence regarding that time extension request. I think it was made in February. So,
Yeah, I think.
so we're pursuing Lawrence on that.
It's February 24th to, extend the time to August 31st, 2024. What Curtis's email says.
This. Oh, here it does. I have-
24.
August 20.
So Curtis was on the ball early on. Good.
But isn't it longer than that just to get the meter? Aren't we a year out?
No, the
Supposed to get the meters in January of 2024.
So.
Chapter 24 is,
I mean, once they start going, if they, I mean, a construction crew comes in and starts slapping in meters. If they're serious about it, I doubt it's gonna take 10 months and 9 months. Or I'll get some, 7 months to do it.
take it, he sent us an email, but did he follow up an email with Lauren?
That's what he just said, that he did, and now they're waiting on, Curtis sent the letter, the original email with a new email saying, this is the first letter I sent you, and you know, what's basically the status, and he hasn't heard back yet.
Okay.
So we have the paper trail that we've been asking, so.
Yeah,
Okay,
we have to approve the letter.
no,
No, it's already been sent.
It's already been sent.
February 2024.
yeah.
Okay, we go to D.
E, discussion vote on claim 17 and other claims and payouts.
That one's Oscar.
For claim 17,
Austin,
we only have one invoice, invoice from D, and it's invoice 23-00611, and that's in the amount of $169.50, and that's the total amount for claim 17.
Okay, I make a motion that we, what? Did you have something?
I just have a question. You can do the motion first and then I have.
I make a motion that we approve, claim 17 in the amount that Oscar,
169.50.
169.50.
I'll second that.
a motion's been made by Director Nyman, seconded by Director Garcia. Roll call of directors, Director Nyman,
Aye. Oh, excuse me.
Director Garcia.
Aye.
Don't fool me, it's too easy. Director Schoenberg,
Aye.
Director Kelling,
Aye.
Gibson, I, 500.
Okay, so can I just ask one more question on these claims? So if the final closeout cost, so I'm understanding that there are going to be some additional costs because I don't see the actual fencing costs in their closeout of what they have to do to close out the project. I just see the submittals, like what they had to figure out, and if there's any other repair, they didn't mess with the paint or anything like that on the building like they were originally thinking they were gonna have to repaint stuff.
And they didn't back at the gates either, so it's just putting 2 corners back.
But I don't see that on there. I just saw an invoice for the submittal of the plans and not for the actual work, unless I missed it.
Also, D, on this 113,000.
That's what I'm talking about.
Wait, we gotta finish this
Yeah,
one
can we do
before
one
go,
question?
before we go back.
Well, it's part of that 113,000 also. I don't see it on that
that claim?
113,000.
He just gave us a price on it, so you'll tell us what it's at. You're muted, too, by the way.
Dot,
Well, there's a spreadsheet that we've prepared that has that total 113,050. But again, that doesn't include the well abandonment, does not include the fence repair. And there may be some other things that, so we're not totally closed out yet, but we're getting real close.
I mean, I guess that just needs to be expressed to Lawrence that it's not the final amounts because there's little things here and there that are not on those invoices.
And-
They're small, but
And did Curtis go back through this unified, bill
Yeah, 'cause it
that
didn't
for
add up
130, because it didn't add up correctly? Because we talked about that in the meeting, when Curtis was on that meeting, and we
we couldn't get it to match. when
it was
we
off
added
by
it.
like $1,600 or something.
Bless you.
Well,
On what,
I got the balance, so I guess maybe Curtis and I might be wrong here. But yeah, we'll take a look at it, make sure it does.
yeah, I just was looking at what I had received from, because this isn't any different than what we got from when we're in the meeting.
Yeah.
When we added, when I added unified up, it didn't add to 113,050.
Okay.
It was off by like $1,600. So that needs to be, because when you submit that to Lawrence, you're gonna, I'm sure you're gonna get some questions, especially if it doesn't add up.
We'll double check that, Rama, for sure.
Okay.
Okay. E, discussion vote update on the bridge loan requests and payments.
At this point, we haven't requested one. We may, once we find out from Lawrence, and we get receipt, and they tell us that, yeah, we're gonna take receipt of this stuff. Once we take receipt of this stuff, then we can request for a bridge loan to pay Unified the 113,000. But
Or however the amount comes up to.
right, but at this point, you know,
Yeah.
Can we move on?
Hey, guys.
E,
I just need
discussion vote update.
What?
Sorry, it was just about the meter equipment. So we have meter reading equipment that Eric uses for Lake of the Woods. Krista's had just arrived in the office and then Lake of the Woods decided to stop working. So Ryan came up from Ferguson to take it back and it could take 3 weeks. But in the interim, there's a SIM card that comes out of it and can be utilized in Krista's equipment to do meter reads. So I just wanted that out there. So it is kind of nice that the community in general, like Lebec, and I'm not sure what Lebec's going to plan on doing. I'm sure once they see our system with Krista being Neptune, they'll want to go that track too. But at least we have 2 on the hill. So as a backup, if you need meter reading, they can be universally used.
You're awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome.
okay, 11.
11, discussion vote update on pipeline replacement project. A, discussion vote on potholing and mapping.
Okay, I also discussed that with Curtis. D already reviewed rough draft of the mapping. And then unfortunately, I had to throw some more questions in there for him to try to figure out because our pressure zone map is not accurate. It was done, you know, with the best of intentions, I'm sure, but so that's adding some extra complications to figuring out how everything's mapped. What we discovered on Summit also adds more into it. So Curtis is fully aware and knows that we're gonna have to keep enough money for multiple change orders. That there's no way to get around that since the project has a lot of money. That's a very good thing because to simplify it, a trail like Elm Trail, you pothole multiple corners and you think, okay, this 6-inch pipe goes to this 6-inch pipe 3 blocks up the road. But there's no way to ensure that without digging the whole length. Elm may have at any given point 4 water lines, 2 gas lines, and an abandoned line. So one of the suggestions I made to Curtis was, and he was agreeing, to the best of our ability, we're going to try to dig right next to the pipe we're replacing to lay the new pipe in so we don't lose track of where that's at, because it would be very simple. I mean, nobody's a mind reader. Nobody's going to be able to guess all them interconnections and tie-ins that they did over the years.
Yeah, plus the supposed line that was placed and never connected up Elm.
That too, and I don't believe that pipe is in there, because I've worked on all of them, I've had it open side to side, but they all, you know, we're convinced that a valve right at Elm Tank was the way the boosters fed out to Elm and then up to Wolf Tank. But when we recently pulled the booster and we shut that valve, it didn't shut the water coming back from Wolf, so there's gonna be, for sure, change orders, just like the last pipeline project before my time when Springer was here, but there's really no way around it when you're dealing with a system this old. There's no way we could have potholed the full length of every pipe with the money that we had. So just to be aware, so I gave those changes to Curtis, or those questions for Curtis, and M&D will continue working on that mapping to get it submitted to us to review again. You got anything else, Steve?
Hey, Johnny, can I ask, of the pipelines that you guys are tracing, are they all metal ones or do you have some PVCs thrown in there?
Yeah, both.
Lucky you.
Yeah, we have PVC, we have steel, and then we have gas lines. They lay on top of water lines, so you can't use a pipe tracer.
And a lot of the PVC does not have that little wire
None
that
of it
it's
has.
supposed to have in it.
None of it has that wire anywhere in town except for the last project going, the couple blocks we did in downtown. If you guys made sure that Chris's wire was there. Other than that, we're shooting in the dark.
Okay, thanks.
Good question, though. You got anything to add to the pipeline, Steve?
No,
Okay.
And we have to do the CEQA still?
Well, we still have that. Well, yeah, all this stuff going down here.
what was?
Okay,
Okay, sorry.
I'm sorry, Dee.
No, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Rebecca.
Okay, discussion vote on engineering and design.
Well, I've got about,
Let him speak.
got about 10 sheets on my table that they cover Pico, Manita, and Oakdale. And that makes the set probably about 34 sheets so far, and we're finishing up Elm. That should be done by the end of tomorrow. So we'll have the drafts, and I'm going through those sheet by sheet. And once I get done with that and the corrections are made, or the changes that are made that I've indicated, then Curtis is going to give a go at it too. And then we'll send it, we'll meet with Johnny and we'll have another go at it. Johnny and I were talking a little bit about the complexity of this system, which, you know, it is really not going to be discovered until we actually get in there and start digging, putting in new pipelines and putting in new services. And once we get these new services in and we get, you know, get the system charged, we're going to know whether or not we miss somebody or whether we've got maybe somebody in the wrong pressure zone. But you know, I think that's going to be kind of it'll be something that we'll take a very close look at as we go further in the construction and the design and the construction. But I think the big concern, because we can figure that out, I think pretty easily. I think what we can't figure out is going to be the connections of this new system to the rest of the system that's still in the ground, old, downstream, or even adjacent to west or east. And so that's going to be something that we'll have to try to work out as we build this thing by potholing in the areas that we're, you know, ending our pipelines and making sure that the connections to the remaining parts of the system are made correctly. So, you know, this is a can of worms, and I think it's just going to be one of those things, as Johnny said, you know, we'll do the best we can to get everything done the way we think it should work. But I'm sure there are going to be situations that we didn't anticipate, simply because there's so many different connections, 2 or 3 different pipelines in the same street. You know, it will be an interesting project. I'll certainly say that.
Director Schoenberg has a question.
I have a couple questions. So, when you were doing the additional potholing, I thought, didn't we do Summit or?
We did potholes.
Okay, so wait, because you didn't say Summit when you were just saying,
That was part of it. He didn't name all the streets.
you didn't name all the streets.
Yeah,
Okay,
what I have here from a meeting is he's doing Summit, North End, Manita, Oregon, Laurel, Pico, Grant, Logan, Julia, Elm, and
Julian.
I don't know what that one is. One other one, Mead.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
And we never ended up doing the stuff on this side that we had
No, the
talked
thought-
about, but we.
The thought is potentially, if we ended up having money, we would do,
That
taxes.
one, yeah.
But if we have any money left over now,
It's
knowing what PRV stations cost, I would recommend we redo the PRV station on the other side of, by the fire station. So we have money, if we have any money left over, we could easily spend it on this side. There's another thing that just came to light, the pipeline that feeds off McGee down the fire station side. We have 2 leaks in it right now, which tells me that thing's gotta be, really old too. So, just to add a little, but if we have any money, I can spend it, I promise. Quickly.
We'll do a.
Okay,
We'll
and you
do-
plan to have this ready for like what, mid-August?
Hopefully. We got draft specs out already. We have to finish up the plans. So yeah, it might be. We're moving ahead.
You know, I keep pushing and I know I'm pushing, but you know, I just want to get our application in because I don't want the money to go away.
Well, if things they keep on changing,
You know,
it would be easier for, Jaspar and Associates too, but things are changing as we do other stuff here in our day to day.
So are we able, when you do the budget for this? Oh, we're not on that yet. I'm sorry. See,
C, discussion vote on the project budget.
sorry. Okay, so when you do the budget for this D, is there a way that you can write it up because of all the potential change orders that might pop off? Are we able to do a larger contingency than we would normally do in light of how complex this is gonna be?
Yeah, we certainly will. Because of the complexity, it won't be a, standard 15% contingency, maybe more like 25%. But what we'll do when we get these things put together is we're going to do an engineer's estimate. And I think we're pretty good shape, from the standpoint of developing some fairly accurate costs. I know Lake of the Woods has done a lot of work up there and we're in contact with the same contractor. And I think we can get a really good idea as to what this thing is going to cost. And, then of course, we're going to put a big contingency on it too, because of what we don't know. It's always what you don't know that gets you. What you do know is usually in pretty good shape.
The only reason I'm saying,
I think Oscar and Carlos can go home. If you like.
yeah,
Did you guys hear that? Oscar and Carla?
Are you guys done with number 12?
Good night.
Good night.
no, we're
Oh.
not done with 12.
Okay, because that's my part, so I still gotta stay for 12.
Okay, but
Okay,
Oscar can go.
So, so I was just gonna say quickly that, in regard to C, that when we did the pipeline project in downtown, that we had some really large change orders that came up. So yeah, I'm happy if we have a much larger contingency.
And that should have been relatively easy compared to the complexity of it.
We know it wasn't, this stuff came up like in the Ace parking lot that we didn't know about, like weird stuff.
Done
Yeah,
it. Yeah, but I'd still rather do that over again than do Elm.
yeah, this Elm's a nightmare, so yeah.
Okay, D, discussion vote on the project plans and specifications.
Not there yet.
Not there yet.
Same with the.
Same with the table.
Yeah, okay. Number 12, discussion vote update on Cal OES Community Power Resiliency allocation to special district grant. Discussion vote update on the purchase of the generators. We're done, right?
Yeah, we did. move it.
So now I can go home. It was 11 that I needed to finish up.
Oh.
Alright. You guys
Good
have a
night,
good night.
Carlos.
Bye.
B.
Okay, B, discussion vote on the engineering and design.
Yeah, I spoke with Curtis today too about that. And, one of the things he's been trying to do is look at a way to minimize cost and, maximize the safety of the generator. Like building a retaining wall where me and D, still may end up having to put it. We got the added cost of the retaining wall, plus the protecting of it, and it's right there like on the corner where everybody can see it and want to deal with it. So Curtis is gonna try to figure a way to get it up in between the two tanks, because there's a brand new T-Mobile generator above ground right there that it's not fenced in or nothing. So as selfish as it is, me and Curtis were talking about how if we fenced ours in, that they'll go for the easy pickings. And so he's trying, that's what he's trying to do. And the simple pad is gonna be just that. It shouldn't be that complicated. The complicated part is gonna be trying to get the concrete in to some of these sites, because the concrete trucks can't get there. So one of the thoughts that came up was maybe we could reach out to a batch plant in Bakersfield with the strength of cement that we want and buy it dry, bags of it, and then just get a mixer for each site. Mix the concrete, that's better concrete than you can buy from like Ace, because it's gonna hold a lot of weight. So I was gonna run that by you too, so you know too, because we can't, if we get the cement truck, then we got to get a pumper truck for half these places, and that's going to add a bunch of costs. And considering our budget, we really got to try to minimize that cost.
Well, that's gonna be a creative, batch and delivery system then.
Yeah.
We could do it individually on each site, but we also have to have a staging area on each site to be able to do it,
Yeah.
to accommodate the materials, the mixer, the traffic.
Yeah, I think we can do that at all the sites. We either have space or it's easy to just redirect traffic around it.
About time you and I took a drive to all the sites and,
I agree.
do it a little,
Yeah. So if you're around
ciphering.
sometime next week, whatever day
Yes.
you're available, we'll do it.
Yes, yes.
You have any other update on that, D?
No, you covered it, Johnny.
Okay, discussion vote on the engineering and design.
Just,
That's kind of the same.
That's
Yeah, kind of the same thing, okay.
Yeah.
13, discussion vote update on the parcel B district water tank repair and or replacement.
I have not gotten a quote on the sacrificial anodes for parcel B yet.
Okay.
It's on my board right there to accomplish, but I have not yet.
Dee, thank you.
Thank you, Dee.
Thank you,
You
Dee.
can go home and enjoy your evening.
You have a great night.
Okay, well, thanks
Do
very
we want
much.
to take it?
And let us know on those dates for that meeting with Emily.
Yes, I will. I will.
Good night, sir.
Have a good weekend.
you too.
Thank you.
Stay safe.
Okay, number 14, discussion vote resolution FP 2023-0727-01, resolution authorizing Kern County to act as FPPD's agent in the collection of assessment taxes for the 2023-2024 tax year.
I make a motion that we approve, resolution number FP 20230727-01 in the matter of water availability or standby charges assessment, delinquent account assessment, resolution authorizing Kern County to act as FPPUD's agent in the collection of the assessment taxes for 2023 to 2024 tax year.
I second that motion.
Okay, motion's been made by Director Nyman,
Lisa?
seconded by Garcia. Roll call of directors. Director Nyman.
Aye.
Director
Lisa.
Garcia.
Aye.
Hi.
Director, that was Schoenberg, aye. Kelly.
Aye.
Gibson, aye. 500, motion passed. Okay, discussion vote on reforming the quarterly financial standing committee.
If we vote on this now, we should just put it for the, not for this next one, but for the following one after that, whenever that is, that's, August, in October, November. Standing,
So third quarter.
the third quarter.
So you mean approve it, it's for the, and then, but it don't go into effect until the third quarter? So I don't see a problem with that, good.
Then the one nice thing about the standing committee is if we need to, one person can just not show, like if there's some reason that I don't know if I'll still be here, but I won't, but if you really need to, if somebody doesn't show up, then another person can step in that's not named.
Okay, so who's gonna be on the quarterly financial committee at the third quarter?
Is that the one that you and I are doing?
No, we're doing this next one, which
So
is,
that's the one that Becky and I did.
So it'll be
there's
Becky and
two every time. So there's a first one, and then there's a second one that I would like to do with you. And then there's, but, which right now, it's me and Becky on there. But I don't want to be like permanently voted to be on there because the following one, I'm probably not gonna be here. So I'm hoping that maybe Becky has a really bad, well, no, I don't hope you have a bad cold. I'm hoping that maybe Becky isn't here for that one so that you can stand in for her. It's August 1st.
So it's like a training deal.
Yeah,
So why don't we just table this until next month?
you can do that as well. It doesn't have to be this month. It's just, it just needs to be on the agenda. So it for the next quarterly.
yeah, let's talk about it next
That one
month.
doesn't
Yeah.
happen until October.
You know, we
Okay.
could do it
October into
even in
November.
September.
Huh?
We could even think,
Yeah, it could even
Appoint
be
somebody
dealt with.
Put it on
It's
the regular,
just needs
regular
to-
meeting of September.
Okay, review and approve meeting minutes for 7/20/2023 state update meeting.
I make a motion that we approve the state update standing committee meeting minutes for Thursday, July 20th, 2023. With any of the amendments that were sent to Tiffany previous to and after the meeting, as well as any additional amendments for typos or other errors that we may not have caught or that may need to be corrected.
I'll second that.
Motion's been made by Director Nyman and seconded by Director Garcia. Roll call of directors, Director Nyman,
Aye.
Director Garcia,
Aye.
Director Schoenberg. Director Kelly,
aye.
Gibson, I 500. It's passed. Number 17, discussion vote on future agenda items. We're done, right? Okay,
I'll make a motion that we adjourn.
I will second that.
okay, motion been made by Nyman, seconded by Kelly. Roll call of directors, Director Nyman,
Aye.
Director Garcia,
Aye.
Director Schoenberg,
Aye.
Director Kelly,
Aye.
Gibson, I 500.
We are adjourned at what time?
We're adjourned at, gee, that's a good question. 6:30.
Perfect.
All right.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.